Hello Speedway, my name's Tim Gropp, the Economic Development Director for the town. We're here in front of the Speedway Municipal Center, and we're going to give you a little tour of the facility. Since we haven't really had a chance to do an open house, we wanted to show you what we have to offer in the new facility. And right now we're outside in front of the main entrances, which are on the north side of the building. We wanted to just kind of point out we're missing a little signage right now, but eventually we'll have on the canopy here, we'll have signage that points you to the door to your right as you're walking up is the police entrance. So everything you used to do in the police station will be to the right, and everything town administration, school administration, public meeting wise will be to your door to the left here. So we're going to take you for my part of the tour on the left hand side and show you the town administration, school administration, and public meeting space area. Before we leave this outside area though, we do want to point out a couple things. There are several ways that you can drop off or pay your utility bills or get permits. We do have these dedicated 10-minute parking spots right here in the front that allow you to run in, take care of your town business, and run back out without having to fight for parking spots. There's also on the eastern side of the building is a utility payment drop-off that you can drive around, come in off of Crawfordsville Road, drive around the building and drop off your payment. So with that being said, let's go on inside and take a look around. As you enter the town administration side, you come into the main lobby. The first thing that you encounter are notices of all public meetings or any pertinent information the public might need to know. And right next to that is probably our most utilized conference room in the building. It's Conference Room 101, the Fisher Conference Room. We've named all our conference rooms after the 4 founders. This room is available. It's locked down from the lobby, but you can it's available for meetings, mostly for town meetings during the day, but we have already had a few evening meetings for boards and commissions. But this is the most accessible and easy to get to conference room, so we feel that this room is going to get a lot of use. And as you come around the lobby on the main floor, you have the town administration door, and then we'll have the clerk-treasurer and permitting office as well. So let's take a look down the town administration hallway. In this area, you have the town manager's office, economic development, parks department, communications, code enforcement, building inspector, as well as some ancillary offices for IT, fire inspection, and flex offices as people come in and need to find a spot to work for the day. So we'll take a look through there next. So here we are in the town administration hallway, if you will. Not too exciting, but very functional. Puts us all in a row. Makes for much better communication and just interaction between the staff. So when you first walk in, we have a couple waiting room seats. We're actually going to swap a couple of these offices. So this is right now is the town manager right when you walk in. Just down the hall, this is actually park storage. They have a lot of things for different activities to store, both on-site and off-site. So this gave Tammy a dedicated spot for storage. Down from there, you have the building commissioner. And then as I mentioned in the hallway, we do have a couple flex spots. So we have room to grow, but we also have spots where staff, Rob from the street department or Chief Fishburne from the fire department, if they need to be in the building for a while, they have a place to be. So we built some of that into here as well. This is just our centralized copier. We're still working on some furniture and artwork, obviously. Down from here, we have communications director, and then around the corner is our parks director, our code enforcement. So down this hallway, we're all in a row. Our staff is easy to communicate and be in touch with each other because it's just down a hallway. On this portion, so this is the back side of the building. It takes you to the south side. This is employees only. That is across the way is police administration, and then there's also an exit from the basement up here. If there's ever an emergency, it's an emergency exit hallway. On the back side of the town administration, we have an electrical room, custodial room, and then a sub-IT room. And then back here from the main conference room, off of the lobby, you can come through to the back side of the administration. And then we have a smaller conference room here for staff meetings or smaller groups that need to meet. It's about 8-person conference room. And then we have another flex office. We had called it our intern office if we happen to have interns. But what we're actually doing right now with our new IT contract, this is where our on-site IT staff is going to be hosted for now. So that is this portion. We'll go back down the hallway, and there's a couple offices the other way that we'll show you as well. As we come down to this side of the hall to the east, we have the town manager's office, the executive assistant, and at the very end you have my office, the economic development office. Behind me you'll see a shared workroom that our clerk-treasurer Jacob Blaisdell will talk to you more about. The last thing down on this side of the hallway is our break room for the staff. And this has been a really nice amenity for the staff members. It doesn't seem like a big deal, but in our other 2 buildings, in the annex and the town hall, we didn't really have a break room to have lunch in. We had our coffee. We'd oftentimes have to eat at our desk or at a conference room. So this has been something that has been a nice upgrade for our staff, and we're glad we're able to provide that. We're now going to go back to the main lobby. As we come back to the main lobby from the town administration offices, the other main town offices located on the first floor is the clerk-treasurer's office. Here to talk more about his area is the town's clerk-treasurer, Jacob Blaisdell.
Awesome, thanks Tim. Excited to welcome you here to our new building and new office. So as you enter the main doors to the building, we're just right over here to the left. And so come along, we'll show you this area. As you can see, we have an expanded waiting area, and we do have now a glass partition. That was not part of the original plan, but as we were building this during COVID, a lot of those precautions and thoughts certainly came to top of mind. It does add some security as well, of course, for the team, but also has that barrier from germs and coronavirus. This will be like the welcoming area. As you can see our staff and employees. Everybody can kind of visibly see anybody that would be waiting here. And as a lot of you know, we're here to assist with your utilities and signing up or discontinuing service or paying and permitting are a lot of the primary reasons that we have folks that come into this office. Another reason that a lot of folks come in is that we're gearing up for right now are race permits for the different vendors and peddlers that come into town. So we're right now actively preparing for that here as it's April, and this will be the first time that we do that in this new building. We're thrilled to kind of have a better breakup of the office so we can kind of manage that process flow a little bit better. But let's go ahead and take you back here to the employee staff area. So this is the main area where our staff and employees, the people that a lot of you are probably already familiar with, work day in and day out. It is, as you can tell, for those that visited the old town hall, this is certainly a bigger, expanded, a more inviting and welcoming workplace for us. I'll show you my office is located right here to the left as soon as you enter. So we're still kind of moving in a little bit. I don't have any artwork or anything up on the walls. It's a little bit barren, but this is where I primarily work out of. If you ever come in, my office is right here to the left, just as you enter the clerk-treasurer's office. We do have a little more space. Of course, like I said, we're still doing a little bit of moving in, but we've added this extra space. Our office is also responsible for things like maintaining all the files, in addition to, of course, all the finances, making sure that all the bills get paid, employees get paid. So a lot of the reason people are interacting with our office relate to the utilities, either signing up for service, discontinuing service, or paying utility bills. And then another big part is the permitting. But of course, the office does quite a bit more than that. And we maintain all the official records for the town, so it's nice to have some more space to do that. And of course, we handle all the money, anything financial. So all the bonds, all of the payments and getting accounts payable taken care of. And of course, getting our employees paid that work really hard every day. And then the other thing I'll show you in our office is this is the other side of the drop box, the new drop box that we have. I know Tim just talked about that. That, of course, is on the east side of the building, so folks can start using that. And that just drops right here in the box, which is a nice improvement. At the old town hall, it was located out in the parking lot, and we would have to kind of break into it sometimes in the winter. Sometimes the street department would help us out with a blowtorch and get that thing open. So this is a pretty nice improvement for us. So another great improvement in this building is we are right connected to a workroom that I'll show you over here. So this is a nice area where we've got like a higher capacity printer and copier. We can make ID badges. We do that for employees as well as for race permitting. We can mail things here. And you can kind of bind larger documents and those kinds of things. And it's also kind of become, as well, it's a mail room, but it's also a good spot. Sometimes employees will just grab lunch here. We've got the nice windows that you can see out. Sometimes they're shaded because this side of the building gets a lot of sunlight. But yeah, this has kind of become a nice area where we can kind of get work done, work together, collaborative between the Clerk-Treasurer's office and then the town administrative staff. So that covers the Clerk-Treasurer's office and the workroom area. And now I'm going to hand it off back to Tim Gropp to cover the school administration offices.
We're back here in the main lobby of the first floor. We're going to take you up to the school administration, which is on the second floor. In the main lobby here, we have multiple signs that direct you to where you need to go, whether it's public meeting spaces on the lower level, obviously town administration you'll see when you come in, and school administration on the second floor. Next to the Clerk-Treasurer's office on the left-hand side of the main lobby, you will find an elevator that will take you to either floor, as well as a staircase allowing you to go up or down as well. So let's go on upstairs to the school administration and take a look around. So we're now on the second floor in a small lobby they have outside the school administration. Again, we have the elevator and the staircase right by each other. The schools haven't moved in yet. They are planning on doing that this summer once everything kind of dies down. When you get in here to the main doorway for them, there will be a receptionist up front here that can buzz you in if you have an appointment or if you need to talk to somebody. This space was left essentially exactly how PNC Bank had it when they vacated the building. So outside of some upgrades to the carpeting, paint on the wall, we're able to recreate one of the original logos, and we have that on the wall for them as well. This space has basically been left untouched, minus the receptionist desk and a small break room for schools. So in this area, you'll have the superintendent, the assistant superintendent, the director of exceptional services, and their IT director, as well as some flex office and conference space. So I know they're excited to move into here, which will free up some very valuable space in Speedway High School. And I know that down the road, there are plenty of opportunities to fill that space with additional learning opportunities for the students at Speedway schools. So we're excited to have them as part of this municipal center. We think it's going to be great energy for the community to have all these administrations in one spot. It'll be easy for the public to communicate with the town leadership, and it'll be great for the town and the schools to have better communications on a day-to-day basis. So we're excited to see them move in, have a little more activity at Speedway Municipal Center. One thing we would like to point out, and this room is a great example of that, is some of the efficiencies that were built into this building when we renovated. This room in particular shows it well because of all this natural sunlight that comes in, but all the lighting in here is dimmable, so it adjusts to the lighting outside. It's a little bright today because we have an overcast day, but on a bright day, even if the lights are on, they will dim down to adjust the lighting accordingly. And then every light in this building is on sensor, so after 10 or 15 minutes, the light, if there's no activity in that area, the lights will turn off. So hopefully that doesn't happen during a public meeting, but in general, we've tried to find ways to save energy and to be more efficient in this building. Some of that is through just having brand new HVAC and utilities, but also through things such as the lighting in here that adjusts and is self-sufficient as well. We're going to leave the second floor in the school administration. We're going to head down to the lower level where we can see additional public meeting rooms, including the town council chambers. As you come off the elevator or down the staircase, you enter into the main lobby area for the lower level. A couple things to point out in the lobby area. One, you might notice on the walls are local artists. So one of the programs we're installing with the Speedway Arts Council is to actually have rotating artists down here to keep the building fresh. Everything is for sale. It's by local artists. Our first ever local artist to display is Audwin Newman and has some fantastic pieces on here. We're so happy to partner with the local artists and the community on that. Another thing is we saved the previous vault. While we don't have any use for the vault, the old vault is being used for storage and possibly some historic artifacts. It is something of a showcase. People like to look at it, and it still is functional to some degree. So just something kind of unique that we were able to keep from the PNC building when we took it over. We also have a TV that will be scrolling local events, upcoming meetings, things that people might want to know. So if they're waiting for a meeting or they step out because they take a phone call or something else, there's interaction in this area. So the first door that you come to is probably our second most popular used conference room. This is one that we're dedicating to our sister city relationships called the Motegi Conference Room. We will be hanging all our gifts from the partnership on the walls for display, and we're looking forward, so when they are able to come back to Speedway, this is where we're going to be able to host them and proudly display our partnership with them. So this is a very versatile room. You're able to set it up multiple ways. We have it set up as kind of a long conference room right now. These tables move. You could set it up in a classroom style. You can set it up as kind of a lecture style if you just want to have somebody at the front. We have multiple screens here that you can plug into for presentations, as well as a large whiteboard. So this is a very versatile room. It holds quite a few people. So we see this room getting a lot of use, and it already is getting a lot of use. So if we go back into the reception area here, back in this corner, very important room is the Speedway Community Television spot. So we'll take a quick little peek inside where Brian and Bill are typically busy editing and running all our public meetings. So they each have their own spot to be able to edit video and do post-production, and this is our main cable area where they run all the public meetings and do all our broadcasting from. So the great thing about this area is we were able to upgrade most of the equipment when we came over. So you might have noticed the quality in our presentations here have gone from standard definition to high definition, and we're excited about that upgrade. It was a long time coming, and we continue to invest in the technology needed to keep us current with everything digital, cable, and production. So we're going to go back and take a look at the council chambers next. So coming from Speedway Community Television, the first door you come is actually an exit only to what we're referring to as the public meeting room. I also call it the town council chambers, but it really is host to multiple boards and commissions. Anything that's going to end up on camera will be in this main conference room here, public meeting room. So this first door is kind of a back entrance into the council portion. You see signage. We're actually going to change this out and make it a little bigger. But public meeting room, the main entrance is just down the hallway here. So room 005, the public meeting room, also known as the Allison conference room, is right here, and we'll go in. It's over twice the size of the previous town council chambers. A lot of amenities in here, a lot of upgrades. We have the operational lighting, as I mentioned earlier. We're able to set this up for about, if we needed full capacity, we could get 80 chairs. We're setting up for a typical meeting at about 60 chairs to leave some room to move around in the back. As we mentioned in the Speedway Community Television, the new cameras are all high definition. So we don't have to have a camera operator anymore in the actual facility. We have a brand new executive desk up front that allows for 8 people. So the school board, the town council, the Speedway Redevelopment Commission, the Board of Zoning Appeals will all be at this new desk. Some of the things we again, because so many different groups are using it, we wanted to make sure that behind it was identifiable for the community, town of Speedway, Indiana, but kind of neutral for all those different groups. We do have the town seal, which turned out beautifully cut on the front, and I think this is just a really nice production for the high definition that really showcases the community in this new facility. We did bump this back a little bit to give us a little additional room. There are monitors on both sides, so depending on which side you're on with the council chambers, you're able to see what's happening if there's any presentations, as well as we have additional monitors back in the space that allow the public to see everything that's being presented as well, and also see any live stream as it's happening. The versatility of this room is what's most important. So it's set up for public meeting space, and that will be the typical use here. But as we'll get to in the back, there's also a warming kitchen back there that allows for catering. And we have purchased additional round tables as well as additional classroom style tables. So you can convert this room into a classroom style for larger presentations. You can also set up for about 60 people to have banquet style seating if you want to have a luncheon or something in the evening. One other feature here, originally we were going to set this room up kind of sideways, so we left all that in place. So depending on what your setup is and what your function is, you could set up this way, have monitors on both sides, and still have your banquet seating and be able to have all the functionality of the technology available in here as well. So from here, we're going to step back outside into the hallway. We're going to show you one more small conference room, and then we're going to go into the kitchen here. So just outside of the main entrances of the public meeting room, there's a secondary entrance to the Motegi conference room, so you can come in the backside. This is also the main route to the public restrooms on the lower level. And next to the Motegi conference room, we have one more smaller conference room that is just about 8 people. But for a small sub-meeting, an executive session, a smaller group that just needs a place to have a meeting, this is a nice functional room that's going to be available to the public as well as all our town functions as well. So we wanted to have as many different sizes and capabilities to host as many groups as we can throughout the day. So from there, you come in just a little bit west. We have on the back side of the public meeting room is that warming kitchen that we talked about. So there are no stoves, nothing like that. We have dual microwaves, 2 large refrigerators, a dishwasher, an ice maker, and then plenty of room to kind of spread out. So with tables out there to be able to spread out food and then an area to prepare food, we thought this was a great amenity. This was something that was here at the PNC building that needed some upgrade, but we thought that it made a lot of sense. And then it goes right into the public meeting room that can be set up for any kind of function you want. So again, we wanted flexibility in the design. We wanted this to be utilized more than sitting here vacant. So a lot of opportunities here, and we wanted to make sure there was as much function as possible. So if we continue on down the hallway here, so this is a storage room that we built in. This is where we keep all our extra chairs, tables, different types of tables. This allowed us a spot to be able to swap out different types of functions. From the storage room, we continue down. We have the main women's restroom, public restroom. Across from that, we have a sub as our main mechanical room where the brains of the operation for the building are. We have multiple water fountains. One thing we wanted to include was the ability to save plastic bottles. We are working on some recycling programs in the facility, something we haven't been able to do in our old buildings. We do have a recycling dumpster, and we also want to find ways to cut down on our waste. So every spot that we have water fountains will have the ability to fill up water bottles as well. Moving on down, we have a family restroom with a changing station. Accessible restroom here. From this point, the next room down is the men's public restroom. So it's a little ways down from public meeting room, but the men's and women's restroom are back to back. From this point over, you can kind of take a left, but this is just storage for public works, for clerk-treasurer, and then this is the main door that takes you into the police department's basement, which you'll get a tour of later. And then this is another storage room for us. On the other side of that hallway, we have storage for files for clerk, treasurer, building commission. All the building plans and everything else are stored in this room. And then this room is another storage. Something that we definitely wanted to add into the planning was plenty of storage for that we had scattered kind of everywhere we were able to consolidate. So this is the Speedway Redevelopment Commission storage, where we keep a lot of our marketing material and various things. The last thing I'm going to show you on the lower level is the fitness room. Our equipment should be here anytime, hopefully this week, but this is available to all town staff. The police department has always had a fitness facility, and so we wanted to make sure that was incorporated into this facility as well. And because it is here, we're able to open that up to all staff to do fitness before and after work or when they have free time. So as you walk in again, we have the automatic lights you might have seen just pop on. We have a place for you to throw your bags. Again, no equipment today. It should be here this week, but we plan on having a couple treadmills, a couple ellipticals, a rowing machine, a free weight area, as well as a weight machine area. We have another water fountain with a bottle filler, and on the back side we have a single-use restroom for one at a time that also includes a shower, so you're able to shower before or after you do your workout. A couple additional features in this gym. We have a TV on the wall allowing you to watch something as you're working out or put workout programs on the screen, as well as the rubberized flooring, allowing versatility on the types of workouts that you want to do. So this kind of concludes our lower level tour. We're going to head back up to the main lobby. That concludes the tour of the town administration side of the Speedway Municipal Center. We're looking forward to hosting all of you real soon when the pandemic kind of slows down. If you get a chance, come to one of our public meetings. We always like to see our residents there. At this time, I'm going to pass it over to Sarah Eady at the Speedway Police Department to give you a tour of the new police department.
Well, thank you, Tim, for that introduction. Like you said, I am Sarah Eady. I'm the Director of Administration here for the Speedway Police Department. And I wanted to take the time today to give you guys an inside look at our new facility here on the west end of the Speedway Municipal Complex, located here at 5300 Crawfordsville Road. We still have all the same wonderful services that we provide to the community, but we've been lucky enough with this new building to have some upgraded enhancements to kind of make the experience of helping the citizens a little easier on both the citizens that come to us for help, but also for the officers that are responding to those. For example, in this lobby here, we now have the ability to meet privately with citizens who come in to lodge a complaint or even to report something of a sensitive nature, whereas previously we had to do that kind of out in the open in the lobby of the old building at 1410 North Lyndhurst. We still have the drug drop box here available for anybody that has old medications that are expired, and they can be dropped off at any time. This lobby is always open 24 hours a day. One of the new features that we do also have in this building is this right here. It's called an A-phone. And what happens is that you can push this button and the dispatchers inside the communications center can actually see who's standing in the lobby instead of just talking to a voice on the other end of the phone. We'll be able to see you and know if for whatever reason you can't speak when you come in here and you have an issue or a serious problem, we'll know to be able to get you the help that you need as soon as you need it. So that kind of concludes the lobby portion of it. If you want to follow me, we'll continue on with the tour. So here we just have a short-term archive space where we keep a lot of the police reports and cases, things that are still in a current nature that we're still looking into and still investigating. We keep them up here so that they're out of the way, but also in an area where we have easy access to be able to get to them if we need them in a short and quick manner. This will be the communications center, but we'll get to that in just a short minute. In here we have the officers' roll call facility, and this is a space in the building where the patrol officers can come and they can check their mail on a daily basis, they can complete police reports as they need to, but also so that they can get together before their shift and talk about things that may pertain to their shift that day or even throughout the week. They use this space daily to try to have that discussion before they go out on patrol. This isn't the only place they do that, though. We're also pretty proud of the fact that our guys like to go out in the community and hold those roll calls in the community as well. So if you see a group of them around having a little discussion, they're probably likely getting ready to go on duty and talking about how they're going to serve the public that day. So if you want to follow me, we'll keep going. This wonderful communications facility was amazingly brought to us by cooperation with partners at Public Safety Communications and Motorola and AT&T. They came in and they installed all of this equipment. This is what our 911 center uses on a daily basis to do their jobs. The desk and facility that we have here is such a huge upgrade from what we had before. It's almost like piloting an airplane, I've heard. That it's quite the facility for making sure that these dispatchers have all the resources they need to be able to get help to the people who need it as soon as they need it. We still staff 2 dispatchers on duty 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. And having a facility like this makes it easy for them to come in and do their job. So if you want to follow me, we'll head over to our administration side. This area is the administrative side of the police department. It's the chief's office area of the building. Here our office manager sits is Pauletta Dusterberg. She's new to us after the retirement of Sandy Chona in December of 2020. While we miss Sandy greatly, we do really love having Pauletta as a new part of our organization. So this is where the administrative staff works daily. My office is actually over there. Chief's office is here, and then Assistant Chief Upchurch is there on the other side of Chief Campbell. We do have a small break room facility, something that we'd not had in the past, so that was kind of a nice addition for us to have a place to eat lunch instead of at our desks. But we also have a nice conference room down here at the end that we can use for chief's meetings or police commission meetings, which we will be having on Monday. Just to show you around a little bit of our conference room, it'll seat up to 30 people. We often will have area chiefs meetings in here where chiefs from local area agencies get together and kind of discuss the issues that are going on in their agencies and the cities that they serve. And behind this door right here is actually our prisoner holding facility. Now, since I'm not a police officer, I don't have access to this area, so I can't really show you what goes on behind there. But we do have 2 holding cells that are back here that we use to secure prisoners before we take them down to Marion County. So right now I'm going to take you to the upstairs where the investigators' offices are and the operations supervisor's offices are, along with a couple other really interesting things I think you're going to like to see. We do have a basement in this facility, but that's where we keep kind of our secured stuff, our evidence and things like that. So I can't really show you where that stuff is, but I think you're really going to enjoy the next part of this. So I'll see you upstairs. Welcome to the upstairs. So upstairs is where we have the investigations unit and the supervisor's offices for the road division. We also have a very nice large training room that we use for officers that are having big group trainings, and it's also a place where outside agencies can come and do trainings of their own if they like. So the officers up here are also allotted a break room. And you may have seen this on social media, but this is the table that was donated to us by Bob Lehman. So thank you to Bob and the people, his organization, for that lovely donation. The guys really like it. Guys and gals, I should say. So down this hallway are the operations supervisors. Now, I will tell you that a lot of this is just dark and closed up. And that's because we pride ourselves on the fact that our operations folks, they like to be out on the road policing and doing that sort of thing. But this is also for each shift. So day shift, late shift, middle shift, they're not all here at the same time. So if there's a door open, it's the shift that the supervisor's here for. One new thing that we've added is a workspace for all of our sergeants as well. That way, if they need to have a private conversation with one of the officers or something like that, they have a place where they can go and close the door and have a conversation. Now, this room doesn't have a whole lot in it yet. So what we were able to do last year was we applied for a grant that has allowed us to purchase a piece of training simulation equipment. So what will go in this room will be a shoot, don't shoot simulating trainer module, where guys will be able to come in, and even members of the public will be able to come in and see what it's like to be put in a scenario where you have to make that determination on a split second of whether you need to shoot or not shoot a suspect. So once that gets in here and gets installed, we're going to be really excited to put that into practice. This is the training room that I mentioned, which we are very excited about because we didn't previously have a space that we could conduct trainings on a large scale like this. This room has a capacity for 36 people, and we have 35 full-time officers on the department. So it's good to know that we actually have a place where we can train the entire department at one time if we needed to. And down this way are the investigations offices. So we have an office for each detective, which is actually an upgrade from the previous facility that we were in as well. In our previous facility, a lot of our detectives had to share offices, which made making phone calls kind of difficult sometimes, having to talk over each other, that sort of thing. So now they each have their own space. They have space to store the stuff that they collect as evidence and then use to process each case that they work. We still do have a room that we use for our imaging. So this is the room where the detectives can come, and they have a program in here where they can build a lineup. So if they have a witness or a victim up here that they are interviewing, they can draw together a lineup and maybe possibly identify a suspect from that information. And in that same vein, we do actually have an interview room on either side of that X-image room. And these interview rooms we use for witness interviews, victim interviews, people that we have a desire to keep up and away from the general public while we were talking to them about a case. So this is where the case has gone beyond the point of just the initial report, like where we would talk to them in the lobby. This is when we're doing further investigation into the case. We do have another 2 sets of interview rooms in the downstairs in the holding area that I couldn't show you. That's more for suspect interviews. We want to kind of keep them in that area of the building and keep them secured and away from the rest of the building. So the supervisors for the investigations unit are up here as well, and they each have their own offices along with other investigators. I want to thank you for joining me today in exploring the new police department facility here on 5300 Crawfordsville Road. We look forward to seeing you in the future. Hopefully you guys will be able to get a chance to tour it in person once this COVID thing is finally over. And if you need us, call us.